Welcome back, everybody. I'm Logan Crawford. You're watching Fresh Outlook. The governing body of the World Cup, FIFA, gets a resounding series of fouls. The Justice Department of the United States arrests and indicts a number of people, and so does Switzerland, despite the scandal, millions of dollars in alleged bribes and kickbacks. The man who headed up the organization since 1998, Sepp Blatter, is re-elected president of that organization. Let's say hello to the Fresh Outlook think tank. I am joined by Dr. Bart Rossi, political psychologist, Frantz Jean-Louis, soccer consultant, and Tom Lavecchia, marketing professional. Joining us live via Skype is Dr. William Birdthistle. Actually, he won't be joining us, unfortunately, but this man is a former colleague of mine right here at Ebru, Frantz Jean-Louis. Right. What do you make of what's happening with FIFA?
Oh, I tell you, this is probably the scandal of all sports. I mean, this is, and it's happening in our time. I think it's exciting because soccer is a sport that here in America is growing. It's something that we don't fully understand, especially when it comes to something of this magnitude. This is something that involves the whole world, in which we, the Americans, have taken on.
So this beats Deflategate in your book.
Actually, this is called FIFA-gate.
FIFA-gate, okay, everything's
This is called FIFA-gate.
This is bigger.
Yeah, this is definitely much bigger. It's something where I think, and I've been reading a lot of posts, a lot of colleagues out there wrote a lot of interesting articles, but to really get the full extent of it is very difficult because, first of all, you have to understand what FIFA stands for, how it operates. This is an FBI investigation alongside the CIA, who, together with an informant, brought some of these allegations abroad. And the reason why we're involved is because it happened in our banks. All of the transactions happen within the banking system of America. Wow. So it gives us precedence. It gives us the authority to take it on. Not England, not France, not Germany, but US of A.
So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you see coming of this? I mean,
yeah, I mean, right now, well, the FBI said that this is just the beginning. And if the beginning began with the arrestation of 14 people, including 7 of FIFA, this is going to be a shockwave across the entire world.
Okay, let's turn quickly to William Birdthistle, who is joining us live via Skype. You blog about soccer, you write about soccer. What's your take on this scandal? To many in the U.S., it's not a big deal because we're not invested in soccer like we are in baseball and football right now, but of course that's changing.
Yeah, actually, I think a large part of the success, the potential success of these prosecutions will be due to the fact that America is generally indifferent to soccer. If you think about the other countries that could have brought these allegations, surely Britain could have brought them, France, Germany, Spain, countries with a large connection to FIFA and obviously a great soccer tradition. But, you know, those countries also have to worry a great deal about retribution. If they strike at Blatter and don't take him down, they might be costing themselves tournaments for years and years to come. I think the United States, doesn't care that much if it doesn't win another World Cup. There's a lot of talk about the fact that America might be sore after having lost the 22 bid to Qatar, but that is surely not what is animating the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch. It's not anything that the IRS cares about. It's not what the FBI care about. They're bringing these investigations because it started with tax fraud. Charles Blazer, who's the larger-than-life sort of Falstaff-like character from America's CONCACAF, 450 pounds, a couple of apartments in the Trump Tower, millions of dollars. He didn't file any tax returns for several years, the last 6 years in a row. So a lot of this investigation began when Loretta Lynch, now the Attorney General, when she was the U.S. Attorney in Brooklyn and Queens. And, a character like that is an easy one to go after. How is he living in the Trump Tower but filing no tax returns? And from there, it built into what it has become, which is a...
Okay, let's turn to Dr. Bart Rossi. What's your take on this, Doc?
Well, my take is the way this unfolded, because you had the top U.S. attorney come out and present this in a very fluid manner. I mean, if you talk about a winner, somebody who really looked like she knew what she was talking about and had a vested interest in this case for a long time and could go through all of the specific details and the transactions and what was going on. I mean, you saw someone, as Attorney General who had a lot of depth with regard to this issue. And I think the way she brought this forward and the way it unfolded makes you think that this is real. This is a real case with a lot of dynamics. And I think that she really, on center stage, if you will, on the world stage, did a magnificent job, actually.
And actually, that I thought about this as well, and Tom, I'm going to turn to you on this one. I actually think it was kind of a political plan, if you will, to present her on a world stage in a very positive way on an issue that really isn't controversial among Americans. Eric Holder kind of had a troubled tenure. His tenure was politicized often. Now you've given her something to fight for that nobody's going to have an issue with.
Yeah, so she's running for office, or going to run for office, and Dr. Rossi could probably speak on that eventually. There's two parts of this. The first part, the insiders within FIFA, or big fans of FIFA, you guys are not surprised by this.
No.
FIFA is known for being the most corrupt organization out there, especially with the power that they have. The second part, in the U.S., people don't really care as much about soccer, and it is growing, but not as much. So it's not going to be a big, passionate plea here in the U.S., and once this news cycle is over, until anything materializes, it's going to go away. And the Europeans are so used to corruption in that they don't care. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Frantz,
Yeah,
what do you think of that?
You know, it's the world's game. It's the world's game. We are politically, we are the world leaders, correct?
Frantz, but don't you feel like FIFA already thumbed its nose at the U.S. by re-electing Sepp Blatter?
No, well, so again, so understanding FIFA, and I think this is where it comes into play. FIFA has 209 associations, federations, and these are representative of the world. So the idea is one vote, one country, right? So these countries are voting on their interests. This is, if you're in, I don't know, for example, Belize, or you're in Suriname, if you're in XYZ country, you're interested in what Sepp Blatter has done for you. Now, what the FBI has done is show that there is some corrupted officials within FIFA, and it should not represent FIFA as a corrupted state. It's an institution. This is not, this is not politics the way we know it. This is something just totally. It actually is democratic, and he was reelected by the 2/3 majority.
All right, let's turn to William Birdthistle. William, do you feel that perhaps FIFA has thumbed its nose at the United States and its law enforcement arms by saying, yep, we want Sepp Blatter to continue doing what he's doing?
I don't know if FIFA has done it. I agree that their votes yesterday were largely self-interested. I think Sepp Blatter has thumbed his nose. This morning's latest reports out of Zurich from the AP are that he says, I'm not worried about my person. I'm not worried about this personally. Now, that's interesting. I mean, it sounds like he may have...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Sepp Blatter came out and said that his attitude has been troublesome for a lot of folks. There's another association, federation called UEFA, which is the European Federation, and Michel Platini, a French star legend, has actually taken on Blatter for years, and they've had some differences, and he publicly asked Blatter to step down publicly, and Blatter really was pretty much, he took it with a lot of grain of salt, and he really is the boss. I mean, no matter what, he will not step down because he feels he didn't do anything wrong. And to be fair, frankly, if the 2/3 of the majority of these global associations agree that he should be there, that's their choice.
But you know what amazes me is that the good face and the positive attitude that people put on when there's fraud or crime. I mean, they act like they're totally innocent and they have nothing to do with it, or they don't know anything about it. I mean, it's a completely one-sided view from their standpoint that they're clear, they're not corrupt. And of course, I think we know better. I mean, it wasn't a surprise to you that what was going on. And so, as Tom said, it's not a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, you're right, because obviously there's the political and social aspect of what's going on, right? But from a branding perspective and a marketing PR perspective, right? You're supposed to act that way, meaning arrogance. People love arrogance, right? They're attracted to arrogance. And number two, they're kind of saying, hey, I did nothing wrong. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't know about legal, I don't know about political, but in terms of what they're supposed to do, is they're acting exactly how they should. Nothing's wrong. So I'll do my day until something happens. I'm still here.
But we're getting tired of that, though. I think people are too sensitive about the fact that people just lie. They want to put on a good face, and I think a lot of Americans are tired of that.
There is, but Americans don't care enough about soccer to care, and the Europeans are used to this.
No.
So that's why I think it's going to
this
get brushed under
is
the
a
rug.
show. This is a show. All of this is a show, because the real deal, the real thing that's going to happen is about to come out, and I think it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Frantz, do you feel there's going to be resentment on the part of the global community that the United States is trying to assert its authority in a venue that they have little vested interest in?
That's a very interesting question. Obviously, our friend Putin already had something to say about our interest in this, but no, I think a lot of folks across the world are actually applauding the fact that Americans have actually taken initiative and an interest in the cleanliness of the sport. I think we have a good reputation when it comes to this, and I think we can definitely. Two things can happen of this. They could either love us or hate us, but if everything checks out to be the way it should be, I think in the end it will be good for the sport and good for us.
When I was a kid growing up, our hopes were put on Pele to bring soccer to the United States. 40 years later,
Cosmos.
40 years later, though, it was David Beckham. Beckham's now retired.
Right.
Is there another star on the horizon that is going to ignite the American imagination?
Well, Ronaldo said he wouldn't mind. He's planning. He's saying it. A lot of PR, work. But
and he
right
paid
now,
for the Galaxy?
Everybody's. I mean, who doesn't want to go to California?
Yeah.
I mean, it's New York or California.
I heard it was a Galaxy, actually. I heard it was another team, right?
No, I think he would go to Galaxy. Yeah,
the money,
They, it's everybody wants to go to California, but right now, this summer, nobody knows. It's a big surprise.
The World Cup is where and when?
The big one. World Cup is it's going to be Qatar.
Wow.
It's going to be Qatar, and the next one is Russia, actually. So
You say Qatar, I say Qatar.
But the next one's Russia.
Sounds great. Frantz Jean-Louis, thank you for your time joining us here today. Tom Lavecchia, esteemed businessman and marketing expert, the famous Dr. Bart Rossi, political psychologist. Always a pleasure having you on the show. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook, Ebru-TV talk show that does what else but help you keep your outlook fresh and informed. I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time. That was for you, Frantz. See ya.